Studies show that in modern society, we are lied to somewhere between 10 and 100 times per day, and in return, we tell a lie ourselves 1 to 2 times per day. Repeat a lie often enough and it becomes the truth is a principle of propaganda attributed to Joseph Goebbels, Minister of Public Propaganda under the Nazi regime. Today, among psychologists, this is known as the illusion of truth effect, and numerous studies have shown that if you repeat a lie often enough, it eventually becomes the truth. And knowing that, marketers, advertisers, and politicians exploit this vulnerability at every opportunity. However, a study on the science of honesty suggests that people who willingly and drastically make an effort to eliminate their habit of lying can improve their health. The question is, does the truth affect your life? In the Western tradition, the path of life is guided and defined by truth. As individuals, we cannot present ourselves to the Father without truth. In the words of Jordan Peterson, you cannot manifest who you are without truth. The pathway to who you could be, if you were completely who you were, is through the truth. So truth is important. One could say that the ever-present encouragement to be yourself and stay true to yourself could actually lead somewhere. And according to sociologist Christine Carter, the practice of truth and honesty is the surprising secret to feeling fulfilled. It all sounds simple enough that happiness through honesty will lead to well-being and fulfillment, right? So why are people constantly lying, feeling unhappy and unfulfilled? As it is often in life, simple does not mean easy. That's because you have to give up parts of you, fragments of the old self that were corrupted through dishonesty. The truth does set you free, and as a result, it destroys everything that isn't worthy. In this painful process of inner cleansing, you often cling to parts of what we shouldn't be, as we experience feelings of ignorance, pride, and more often than not, laziness. Dr. Jordan Peterson describes this process as a burning process in which truth in each of us is freed and honored, while other fragments are destroyed. A cleaning process of sorts, one that is as painful as it can be, as it destroys part of you to make you stronger. Let's paint a picture. Neil is an extremely good guy, a foodie that has followed his passion and now has his own small family-owned restaurant. He is doing what he loves and his social circle is extremely supportive. Neil did what he loved all his life, but lately is suffering due to complications related to his weight. Scenario 1. Neil realizes that he simply isn't in the right place and he needs to change. He attempts to cut down on unhealthy food and slowly starts to work out. He burns parts of his old self while burning calories and unhealthy habits. Neil becomes healthier, happier, and closer to his social circle than ever. He stays true to himself, his family, with full control over the burning process. Scenario 2. Neil ignores symptoms and the support of the family to change his habits because that's who he is, and he believes that one cannot change at this age anymore. He does what he loves carelessly, and one day things pop. In the hospital, surrounded by his family, the doctors inform him there is no going back. If he doesn't change his current lifestyle, the next time in the hospital might be his last. At this point, after the scare of his life, Neil realizes that staying true to himself is highly important. He starts on the right path, he burns calories as he works out, but he burns far more of himself in a far bigger fire, one that is traumatizing for him and his loved ones. Neil is happy in both scenarios. He's doing what he loves, and he has his loved ones around at any given point and got a chance to make things right. However, in the second scenario, not all people recover. As Peterson explains, a lot of you has to burn away, as the idea is that everything about you that isn't worthy has to be put into flames. In simpler words, if change is forced upon us and we're not ready to receive it or not convinced that this is the right path, it will be hard for us to correct ourselves. It is not uncommon for us to feel off when we lie to ourselves or others. It is not uncommon to feel some sort of feeling or a voice that tells us that we're about to do something wrong. And yet we tend to ignore that inner voice in return for immediate pleasure. It takes an immense effort to accept that much of what we do and say is actually false, or not aligned with how we perceive ourselves. While the sheer, uncensored observation of our own self may wreak havoc in our conscience, yet the pursuit of knowing the truth and accepting change is always worthwhile. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "The strength of a person's spirit would then be measured by how much truth we can tolerate, or more precisely, to what extent he needs to have it diluted, discussed, sweetened, muted, falsified. If we face the truth within us, we notice we unwittingly have corrupted parts of the fragments that make us whole through ignorance, pride, and laziness. We've simply lied to ourselves, enough to damage us, and it happened naturally. Happily, we can clean up, and this immense effort is always worthwhile, as it leads to pure happiness and joy through honesty and courage to act true to yourself. Stand up to your inner self, act honestly and in good faith to yourself and the ones around you, and you will most certainly find your way. Decide to believe that the right path is always worth following. Decide that the truth will set you free. Decide you are going to let everything about yourself that isn't worthy of you to die. If that is almost everything that you are, the part of you that is not shall shine, despite the immense effort and pain you are faced with. While the pain is finite, the alternative is much worse. It is the never-ending pain of knowing that the reality you've created is not true, and your real self sits in the corner feeling unwelcome. Decide to face the truth every day. For you, for me, and the entire human race, you can decide to make this world a better place.